Beloved, I am here to tell you how this chapter of your life will conclude. The outcome has already been written in my book, and it declares victory over your life. What I have prepared for you will leave you speechless. The breakthrough that is coming will be so complete, so undeniable, so thoroughly saturated with my fingerprints that everyone who witnesses it will know beyond any shadow of doubt that only I could have orchestrated this kind of transformation. What started with tears streaming down your face in the middle of the night will finish with joy overflowing from a heart that has been made whole. What commenced in uncertainty, in fear, in the suffocating weight of circumstances that seem too heavy to bear, will conclude in triumph that is so complete, so undeniable, so thoroughly saturated with my fingerprints that everyone who witnesses it will know beyond any shadow of doubt that only I could have orchestrated this kind of turnaround. You have been walking through a season that tested you in ways you never anticipated. When this chapter of your life began, you had no idea how intense the pressure would become. You had no concept of how deep the refining process would go. You could not have imagined the number of tears you would cry, the sleepless nights you would endure, the moments when you would question whether you had the strength to take even one more step forward. This season asked more of you than you thought you had to give. It demanded a level of faith that felt impossible to maintain. It required you to keep believing when every shred of visible evidence suggested that believing was the most foolish thing you could possibly do. But you did it anyway. You kept going when quitting would have been so much easier. You kept praying when your prayers felt like they were disappearing into a void. You kept trusting me when trust made absolutely no logical sense based on what you could see with your natural eyes. And that perseverance, that stubborn refusal to let go of me no matter how dark things got, has positioned you for a breakthrough that is about to shatter every limitation the enemy tried to impose on your life. Let me tell you what has really been happening during this season. You thought you were just trying to survive. You believed you were simply enduring difficulty, gritting your teeth, and holding on until things got better. But I was doing something far more significant than you realized. I was preparing you. Not just preparing you to receive a blessing, but preparing you to become the kind of person who can steward a blessing without being destroyed by it. I was refining you. Not punishing you, but purifying you. Burning away the parts of your character that would have collapsed under the weight of what I am about to give you. I was strengthening you, not by removing the pressure, but by teaching you how to stand firm under pressure, how to remain stable when everything around you is shaking, how to keep your eyes fixed on me when 1,000 distractions are screaming for your attention. Every battle you fought during this season was training you for battles you will face in the future. Every tear you cried was watering seeds of joy that are about to spring up in your life. Every moment when you felt like you could not go on, but somehow found the strength to take one more step, was building spiritual muscle that you are going to need for the assignments that are coming. This season was not random. It was not meaningless suffering. It was strategic preparation, orchestrated by a Father who loves you too much to promote you into something you are not ready to handle. Think about the process a diamond goes through before it becomes the precious stone that people treasure. Carbon that will eventually become a diamond starts deep beneath the surface of the earth, subjected to intense heat and crushing pressure for extended periods of time. If you could interview that carbon in the middle of the process, it would tell you that the experience is unbearable. It would describe the weight pressing down from every direction, the heat that feels like it is going to consume everything, the darkness that seems like it will never end. But what the carbon cannot see in the middle of the process is what is being created. The very pressure that feels like it is destroying is actually transforming ordinary carbon into something extraordinary. The heat that seems cruel is actually necessary. The darkness that feels oppressive is actually the environment where brilliance is formed. You have been in that process. The pressure you felt was real. The heat was intense. The darkness was suffocating. But I was not torturing you. I was transforming you. I was taking the raw material of your life and turning it into something that reflects my glory. I was developing in you a strength that shallow seasons could never produce. I was forming in you a character that easy circumstances could never create. I was establishing in you a depth of faith that comfortable times could never cultivate. And now, as this season draws to its close, the transformation is complete. You are not the same person who entered this difficult chapter. You have been changed at a fundamental level. You have been refined. You have been strengthened. You have been prepared. and you are ready for what comes next. What comes next is victory. Not the kind of victory that barely squeaks by. Not the kind where you win, but just barely, limping across the finish line with nothing left. I am talking about complete victory, overwhelming triumph, the kind of breakthrough that is so comprehensive, so thorough, so abundantly beyond what you asked or imagined that when it manifests, you will fall to your knees and worship, because you will know without any doubt that only I could have done this. I want to address something specific that you have been carrying in your heart during this season. There have been prayers you have prayed over and over again, specific requests you have brought before my throne so many times that you have wondered if I am tired of hearing about them. Let me settle that question right now with absolute clarity. I am never tired of hearing your voice. Every time you come to me, no matter how many times you have come before with the same request, I receive you with joy. I listen with full attention. I consider your petition with the heart of a father who delights in giving good gifts to his children. Those prayers you have been praying have not fallen on deaf ears. They have not disappeared into nothingness. Every single one of them has reached my throne. Every petition has been heard. Every request has been recorded. And now, the season of answers is here. I have been working on your requests behind the scenes of your life. While you were sleeping, I was moving pieces into position. While you were going about your daily routine, I was orchestrating divine appointments. While you were fighting battles in the visible realm, I was winning wars on your behalf in the invisible realm. I have been rearranging circumstances, touching hearts, opening doors, removing obstacles, and positioning resources to flow in your direction. All of it has been happening in dimensions you cannot see with natural eyes. But very soon, what has been happening in the spiritual realm is going to break through into the physical realm. What has been true in heaven is about to manifest on earth. What I have decreed in the unseen is about to become visible in your daily experience. Your prayers have been answered, not ignored, not denied, answered. Some of them have already been answered in ways you have not yet recognized. The answer is in motion, moving toward you, but it has not yet arrived at your doorstep. Some are being answered right now in this very moment. Things are shifting in the background of your life even as you read these words. Doors are opening. Parts are softening. Resources are being released. Obstacles are being removed. And some prayers are about to be answered in such a dramatic, undeniable way that there will be no question in your mind or anyone else's mind that I am the one who did it. The timing of certain answers has been held back intentionally, not because I was ignoring you, but because I was waiting for the perfect moment. The moment when the answer would bring me the most glory. The moment when your faith would be most greatly rewarded. The moment when the testimony would have the maximum impact on everyone watching your life. That moment is here. The season is turning. What has been delayed is about to be delivered. What has been withheld is about to be released. What has seemed impossible is about to become reality right before your eyes. And when it happens, when you see the manifestation of what you have been believing for, you are going to understand why it took this long. You are going to recognize that if it had come sooner, you would not have been ready for it. You are going to see that the timing was absolutely perfect, orchestrated by a God who sees the end from the beginning and knows exactly when to release each blessing so that it accomplishes the maximum purpose in your life. I need you to understand something about the nature of seasons. Every season serves a purpose. There are planting seasons when you sow seeds without seeing immediate results. There are growing seasons when things are developing beneath the surface where you cannot see them. There are seasons of cultivation when you tend and water and protect what has been planted. And then there are harvest seasons when everything that was sown and nurtured finally comes to maturity and produces fruit that you can gather and enjoy. The mistake many of my children make is expecting harvest in planting season. They sow seeds and then immediately start looking for fruit. When they do not see instant results, they conclude that the seed was bad, the ground was wrong, or I failed to honor my promise. But that is not how it works. Harvest comes after a period of waiting. Fruit appears after a season of growth. Results manifest after a time of process. You have been in the process season. You planted seeds through your prayers. You sowed through your tears. You invested through your obedience even when obedience was costly. And all of that planting, all of that sowing, All of that investing has been working beneath the surface where you could not see it. Roots have been growing, strength has been developing, fruit has been forming, and now the harvest season is here. What you planted in pain you are about to reap in joy. What you sowed in tears you are about to gather with shouts of celebration. What you invested in faith you are about to receive as manifested reality. The enemy tried to convince you that you were wasting your time. He whispered that your prayers were pointless. He suggested that your faith was foolish. He attempted to persuade you that nothing was ever going to change, that you were stuck in this difficult place permanently, that the breakthrough you were believing for was never going to come. But he was lying. He always lies. That is his nature. He is incapable of speaking truth. And every word he whispered to you during this season was designed to get you to quit right before your breakthrough arrived. He knew what was coming. He saw the harvest that was being prepared. He recognized that if you held on just a little longer, you would step into a level of blessing that would make you dangerous to his kingdom. So he threw everything he had at you to try to get you to give up. He hit you with discouragement. He assaulted you with doubt. He oppressed you with fear. He tried to overwhelm you with circumstances that made it look like the situation was hopeless. But you did not quit. You did not give up. You did not walk away. You held on. You kept believing. You continued trusting. And because you refused to surrender, because you stood firm when everything in you wanted to collapse, because you kept your hand in mine even when you could not feel me holding you back, you have secured your victory. The enemy's plan failed. His strategy backfired. His attack accomplished the opposite of what he intended. Instead of destroying your faith, the pressure strengthened it. Instead of driving you away from me, the difficulty pushed you closer to me. Instead of defeating you, the battle trained you to become a warrior who knows how to stand and fight and win. Now you are standing at a threshold. On one side is the season you just walked through, with all its difficulty and pain and pressure and testing. On the other side is a new season that I am opening before you. A season that will look nothing like what you just experienced. What you are about to step into is a season of manifestation. A season where what has been hidden in the spiritual realm becomes visible in the natural realm. A season where promises that have existed only in the dimension of faith begin to materialize as experienced reality. A season where the things you have been believing for, hoping for, praying for, waiting for, finally arrive in your life in ways you can see and touch and experience. I want you to understand the significance of this transition. You are not just moving from bad circumstances to better circumstances. You are moving from one dimension of living to another dimension entirely. You are graduating from one level of faith to a higher level. You are being promoted from one sphere of influence to a broader sphere. This is not just about your personal comfort improving, though that will happen. This is about you being positioned for greater kingdom impact. This is about you being established as a voice that speaks into the chaos of this world and brings my order. This is about you becoming a carrier of my presence in such a tangible way that people will encounter me when they encounter you. During this season of difficulty, I was doing more than just testing your endurance. I was calibrating your spiritual senses. I was fine-tuning your ability to hear my voice. I was sharpening your discernment so that you can recognize my leading even in the noise and confusion of the world around you. You have developed sensitivity to my spirit that you did not possess before this season began. You have learned to recognize the difference between my voice and the voice of the enemy. You have discovered how to distinguish between my peace and false peace that comes from denial or avoidance. These are skills that cannot be taught in a classroom. They can only be developed in the furnace of real-life experience. And now that you have these skills, now that your spiritual senses have been sharpened, you are ready to navigate the new season I am bringing you into. Because this new season is going to require you to make decisions that affect not just you, but many people. You are going to face opportunities that look attractive on the surface, but may be traps designed to pull you off course. You are going to encounter people who want to attach themselves to you because of what you carry. And you will need discernment to know who is sent by me and who is sent by the enemy. You are going to have options and choices that you never had before, and you will need wisdom to know which ones align with my purposes and which ones are distractions disguised as blessings. But I have prepared you for all of that. The season you just walked through was not wasted time. It was intensive training. You have been in my private academy. You have been enrolled in my school of faith, and now you have graduated. You have earned your degree. You have passed the tests, and you are ready to step into the assignment that all of this preparation was designed to equip you for. This is not wishful thinking. This is not positive motivation designed to make you feel better temporarily. This is prophetic declaration rooted in the unchangeable character of God. I do not lie. I cannot lie. It is impossible for me to be unfaithful to my promises. What I have spoken over your life will come to pass. What I have decreed concerning your future will be established. What I have promised will be fulfilled. Not because you are perfect, not because you earned it, but because I am faithful. Because my word is true. Because I am the God who keeps covenant with those who love me. Let me tell you what this new season is going to look like. I am releasing provision into your life that will remove financial stress and anxiety. You have been carrying worry about money, about bills, about how you are going to make ends meet. That burden is about to be lifted. I am opening streams of income that you did not anticipate. I am bringing resources into your hands from directions you never expected. I am connecting you with people who have the ability and the desire to invest in your future. I am giving you wisdom and strategies that will generate increase. This is not about you working harder or longer. This is about me releasing supernatural provision that flows from my abundance rather than from your effort. You are going to experience what it means to have more than enough, not just barely sufficient, not just scraping by, but abundance, overflow, more than you need for yourself so that you become a conduit of blessing to others. The financial breakthrough that is coming is not just about meeting your needs. It is about positioning you to fulfill your purpose. There are assignments I have for you that require resources. There are people I want you to bless who need what you will have. There are projects I want you to fund that will advance my kingdom. This provision is strategic. It is purposeful. It is designed to enable you to do everything I have called you to do without being limited by lack of resources. And it is coming not because you figured out the right formula or worked the right system, but because you remained faithful when being faithful was costly. You tithed when you barely had enough to pay your bills. You gave offerings when it made no natural sense to give. You sowed seed when you needed to eat the seed yourself. And now, the harvest of that faithful sowing is about to come in. I am releasing healing into your life. If you have been battling physical illness, struggling with pain, dealing with limitations in your body, I am touching those areas with my healing power. What has been broken is being repaired. What has been diseased is being cleansed. What has been weak is being strengthened. Some of the healing will be gradual. You will notice improvement over time. But some of it is going to be instantaneous. You will wake up one day and realize that the pain is gone. The symptom has disappeared. The condition that the doctor said was permanent has been reversed. And you will know without any doubt that I am the one who healed you. But the healing I am releasing is not limited to your physical body. I am also healing your mind. The anxiety that has been plaguing your thoughts is being removed. The depression that has been weighing on your emotions is being lifted. The trauma that has been controlling your responses is being healed. The wounds from your past that have been influencing your present are being closed. I am doing deep work in your soul. I am touching places that have been broken for so long you forgot what wholeness feels like. I am restoring parts of you that were damaged by people who should have protected you. I am healing hurts that you buried because you did not know how to process them. This is comprehensive healing. This is complete restoration. This is me making you whole in every dimension of your being. I am releasing restoration into your relationships. Connections that have been fractured are being mended. Bonds that were severed are being rejoined. People who walked away are going to return. Parts that were hardened against you are being softened. Communication that broke down is being reestablished. I am doing surgery on relationships that you thought were dead. I am breathing life back into connections that seemed beyond repair. Some of these restorations will require forgiveness on your part. Some will require humility. Some will require you to take the first step even though you were not the one who caused the break. But I am giving you the grace to do what is necessary. I am providing the strength to extend mercy even when mercy feels costly. And the result is going to be relationships that are stronger than they were before the break, deeper than they were before the difficulty, more valuable than they were before the test. Some of the relationships I am restoring are family connections that have been broken for years, siblings who have not spoken, parents and children who have been estranged, extended family members who have been divided by misunderstandings and old wounds. I am bringing healing to these relationships. I am creating opportunities for reconciliation. I am softening hearts on both sides. And when the restoration happens, when the family that has been fractured comes back together, it is going to be a testimony to my redemptive power that impacts not just your immediate family, but generations to come. Other relationships I am restoring are friendships that were damaged by betrayal, by distance, by life circumstances that pulled you in different directions. You have mourned the loss of these connections. You have missed the people who used to be close to you. You have wondered if those friendships could ever be what they once were. And I am telling you that not only can they be restored, they can be better than they were before. Because both of you have grown. Both of you have matured. Both of you have been refined by your own seasons of difficulty. And when you reconnect, you are going to discover that the bond is deeper. The trust is stronger. The love is more genuine than it was before the break. I am releasing clarity into your mind. If you have been confused about direction, uncertain about decisions, clouded in your thinking, that fog is lifting. You are going to start seeing clearly again. The path forward is going to come into focus. The choices you need to make are going to become obvious. The questions that have been tormenting you are going to be answered. I am giving you my wisdom. I am illuminating your understanding. I am guiding your thoughts. And you are going to move forward with confidence, knowing that you are following the right path, making the right decisions, heading in the right direction. This clarity is going to affect every area of your life. In your career, you are going to know which opportunities to pursue and which ones to decline. You are going to have discernment about people, about offers, about partnerships. You are going to see through situations that appear attractive on the surface, but are actually traps designed to pull you off course. In your personal life, you are going to have wisdom about relationships, about how to invest your time, about what to prioritize. You are going to be able to distinguish between what is urgent and what is important, between what is good and what is best, between what will satisfy temporarily and what will fulfill eternally. I am releasing peace into your emotions. The chaos you have been feeling internally is settling. The anxiety that has been gripping your chest is loosening. The fear that has been haunting your thoughts is being expelled. I am bringing you into a place of rest. Not the kind of rest where nothing is happening, but the kind of rest where your soul is anchored in me so securely that external circumstances no longer have the power to shake you the way they used to. You are going to experience a stability, a calm, a settled assurance that flows from knowing who I am and who you are in me. Storms may still come. Challenges may still arise. Difficulties may still appear. But you are going to face them from a completely different posture. You are going to be rooted, grounded, established in me in a way that allows you to stay calm in the middle of chaos instead of being tossed around by every wave that hits you. This peace that I am releasing is not something you manufacture through positive thinking or mental exercises. This is supernatural peace. This is the peace that surpasses all understanding. This is the peace that stands guard over your heart and mind. This is the peace that the world cannot give and the world cannot take away. It is a gift that flows from my presence. And as you learn to abide in my presence, as you cultivate intimacy with me, as you make time to sit with me and listen to my voice, this peace is going to become the dominant reality of your internal world. You are going to become the person that others look at and wonder how you stay so calm. You are going to be the one who brings peace into chaotic environments instead of absorbing chaos from those environments. I am releasing purpose into your life. If you have been feeling lost, uncertain about your calling, wondering what you are supposed to be doing, that confusion is ending. I am activating your gifts. I am confirming your calling. I am opening doors that align with the purpose I created you to fulfill. You are going to step into assignments that make you feel fully alive, that utilize the unique combination of talents and experiences and passions I have placed within you. You are going to discover that you were designed for this, created for this, prepared through every season of your life for this. And when you step into the fullness of your purpose, you are going to experience a level of fulfillment and joy and satisfaction that you have never known before. This purpose I am revealing is not small. It is not insignificant. It is not about you just getting by, or just surviving, or just existing. I created you for impact. I designed you to make a difference. I equipped you to leave a legacy. The gifts inside you are meant to bless multitudes. The calling on your life is meant to touch generations. The anointing I am placing on you is meant to bring breakthrough to people who are stuck in the same places you used to be stuck. You are going to become a living testimony. You are going to be walking proof that God is real, that God is faithful, that God transforms lives. And that testimony is going to give hope to people who are about to give up. It is going to strengthen faith in people who are on the verge of walking away. It is going to demonstrate to a watching world that following Jesus is not just a nice religious idea, but a life-transforming reality. All of this is coming, not eventually, not someday in the distant future, but now, soon, in the transitional moment between the season you are leaving and the season you are entering. And I need you to position yourself to receive it, not with doubt, not with skepticism, not with the hesitant, cautious, protective posture of someone who has been disappointed too many times to fully hope again, but with faith, with expectation, with open hands and an open heart and a spirit that is ready to receive everything I have prepared for you. I want to talk to you about the concept of suddenly. Throughout Scripture, you see this pattern of long seasons of waiting followed by moments of suddenly. Abraham and Sarah waited decades for the promise, and then suddenly Isaac was born. Joseph spent years in prison, and then suddenly he went from prisoner to prime minister in a single day. The Israelites wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, and then suddenly they crossed into the promised land. The disciples waited in the upper room as I instructed, and then suddenly the Holy Spirit fell and everything changed. That is the pattern. Long seasons of preparation, extended periods of waiting, lengthy times of testing and refining, and then suddenly, everything shifts. Suddenly doors open. Suddenly provision appears. Suddenly relationships are restored. Suddenly healing manifests. Suddenly the breakthrough that seemed like it would never come arrives all at once. You have been in the long season. You have done the waiting. You have endured the preparation. And now you are standing at the edge of your suddenly moment. When it comes, and it is coming, you are going to look back at this season and everything will make sense. You are going to see why certain doors had to close before others could open. You are going to understand why certain relationships had to end before new ones could begin. You are going to recognize why you had to go through this particular refining before you could handle what is next. The timing that felt cruel will be revealed as perfect. The delays that felt like denials will be shown to be divine protection. The losses that broke your heart will be understood as necessary clearings to make room for what I was preparing to give you. But in the middle of the process, you could not see any of that. You only saw the pain. You only felt the pressure. You only experienced the difficulty. And that is normal. That is human. That is how faith works. If you could see the end from the beginning like I can, you would not need faith. Faith is required precisely because you cannot see everything. Faith is exercised exactly because you do not have all the answers. Faith is activated specifically because circumstances do not make sense. And you have been walking by faith, not by sight. You have been trusting me even when you could not trace me. You have been following me even when you could not see where I was leading. And that faith, my child, that trust, that following, it has secured your victory. Let me tell you something about the nature of breakthrough that few people understand. Breakthrough is not something you create through human effort. Breakthrough is something you receive through divine intervention. You can position yourself for breakthrough through obedience, through faithfulness, through persistence in prayer and trust. But you cannot manufacture breakthrough. You cannot force breakthrough. You cannot manipulate breakthrough into existence. Breakthrough comes when I decide the time is right. Breakthrough manifests when I determine that all the pieces are in place. Breakthrough arrives when I determine that the season has shifted, and I am decreeing it now. Over your life, over your situation, over your family, over your finances, over your health, over your future, I am decreeing breakthrough. I am speaking victory where there has been defeat. I am declaring freedom where there has been bondage. I am pronouncing healing where there has been sickness. I am announcing provision where there has been lack. I am establishing restoration where there has been loss. This is not a prediction. This is a decree. This is not wishful thinking. This is prophetic declaration. What I have spoken in the heavenly realm is about to manifest in the earthly realm. What I have decreed in eternity is about to appear in time. What I have established in the spiritual is about to become visible in the physical. You have been faithful in the season of difficulty. You remained true when things were hard. You kept believing when belief seemed foolish. You continued trusting when trust made no logical sense. And now, I am rewarding that faithfulness. I am honoring that perseverance. I am responding to that trust by releasing into your life more than you asked for, more than you imagined, more than you thought was possible for someone like you. This is how I work. This is what I do for those who refuse to quit on me. I show up in their darkest hour. I break through when they have held on until they have nothing left to hold on with. I manifest my power in ways that leave them breathless and everyone watching them amazed. Your breakthrough is not just for you. It is for everyone who has been watching your struggle. There are people observing your life who are facing their own battles. They have been watching to see if staying faithful to God really makes a difference. They have been wondering if trusting me is worth the cost. They have been questioning whether I am real, whether I am good, whether I actually care about what happens to my children. Your victory is going to answer those questions. Your testimony is going to strengthen their faith. Your breakthrough is going to give them hope that if God did it for you, He can do it for them too. So when the manifestation comes, when the breakthrough arrives, when the victory becomes visible, give me the glory. Tell the story of how I brought you through. Point people to the faithfulness of your God. Let them know that what they are seeing is not the result of your greatness, but the demonstration of mine. Let them know that you do not have all the answers, but you know the one who does. Let them know that you are not strong in yourself, but you serve a God who is strong on your behalf. This is how my name gets lifted up. This is how my reputation spreads. This is how people who do not know me yet are drawn to me. They see what I do in the lives of my faithful children, and they want that for themselves. I want to speak to something that you have been afraid to hope for because hoping for it and being disappointed again would hurt too much. There is a specific area of your life where the pain has gone so deep, where the disappointment has been so consistent, where the waiting has stretched so long that you have almost given up believing anything will ever change. You have tried to surrender it. You have attempted to accept that maybe this is just how things are going to be. You have worked to make peace with a reality that breaks your heart every time you think about it. But the longing will not go away. The hope keeps resurfacing. The desire keeps returning even though you try to suppress it because you are afraid that hoping will only lead to more heartbreak. I see that place in your heart. I know what you have been carrying there. I understand how much courage it takes for you to even allow yourself to want what you want in that area. And I am telling you right now that the breakthrough is coming. What has been broken in that specific area is being repaired. What has been dead is being resurrected. What seemed impossible is being made possible. Not because you finally did the right thing or prayed the right prayer or had enough faith, but because my timing has arrived, because the season is turning, because I have decided that now is the moment to move in that area of your life in ways that will restore your hope and prove that I have not forgotten the desires of your heart. When it happens, when you see movement in that area you thought was permanently stuck, when you experience change in the situation you believed would never shift, you are going to weep. Not tears of sorrow this time, tears of joy, tears of relief, tears of worship, because you are going to recognize that only I could have done this. Only I could have taken something so broken and made it whole. Only I could have resurrected something that was dead. Only I could have turned around a situation that seemed absolutely hopeless. And in that moment, all the pain of the waiting is going to be worth it. All the tears of the difficult season are going to make sense. All the questions you had about why it took so long are going to be answered. There is something else I need you to understand as you prepare to step into this new season. The victory I am giving you is complete. It is not partial. It is not conditional. It is not fragile. It is established, secured, rooted in my unchanging character. You do not have to worry that it is going to be snatched away at the last minute. You do not have to fear that something is going to go wrong and ruin everything. You do not have to live in anxiety that you are going to mess this up somehow. I am the one establishing this victory. I am the one securing this breakthrough. I am the one orchestrating this turnaround. And what I establish cannot be undone by the enemy, by circumstances, or even by your own mistakes. Yes, you will still face challenges in this new season. I am not promising you a life with zero difficulties, but you are going to face those challenges from a completely different position. You are not going to be fighting for victory. You are going to be fighting from victory. You are not going to be striving to overcome. You are going to be walking in the reality that you have already overcome through me. You are not going to be hoping that things will work out. You are going to be confident that they already have worked out in the spiritual realm, and it is only a matter of time before the physical realm catches up with what is already true in the eternal realm. This is what it means to walk by faith. Faith does not deny current circumstances. Faith sees beyond current circumstances to eternal realities. Faith does not pretend that problems do not exist. Faith declares that problems are temporary, but God is eternal, and what is eternal always outlasts what is temporary. Faith does not ignore the battle. Faith stands in the battle with the confidence that the outcome has already been decided in heaven, and what heaven declares will manifest on earth. I am calling you to walk in that level of faith as you enter this new season. I am calling you to live like someone who knows they have already won. I am calling you to speak like someone who is confident that what God promised will come to pass. I am calling you to act like someone who understands that the breakthrough is not something you have to create through your effort, but something you receive from my hand, through your faith. This posture, this mindset, this way of walking through life, is what will sustain the blessing long after the initial excitement fades. This is what will keep you grounded when the elevation comes. This is what will protect you from pride when the promotion arrives. So celebrate, not arrogantly, not in a way that forgets where you came from or who brought you through, but genuinely, joyfully, gratefully. Celebrate that you made it. Celebrate that the season of difficulty is ending. Celebrate that what began in struggle is concluding in victory. Celebrate that the promise that seems so far away is now manifesting right in front of your eyes. Celebrate that I was faithful, even when you struggled to remain faithful. Celebrate that I never let go of you, even when you felt like you were losing your grip. Celebrate that I carried you through when you thought you could not take one more step on your own. The enemy wanted this season to break you. I used this season to make you. The enemy intended for this trial to destroy your faith. I allowed this trial to strengthen your faith. The enemy planned for this difficulty to drive you away from me. I orchestrated this difficulty to draw you closer to me. What was meant for your harm, I have transformed for your good. What was designed to defeat you has actually prepared you for your greatest victories. What looked like the end of your story is actually the setup for your most powerful chapter. Let me tell you about the spiritual warfare that was happening during this season that you could not see. While you were feeling attacked and overwhelmed, I was actually using every attack as an opportunity to train you. The enemy thought he was destroying you. I was using his attacks to develop you into a warrior. Every lie he whispered was teaching you to recognize and reject lies. Every fear he tried to plant was training you to stand firm in faith. Every discouragement he sent was building in you a determination that cannot be shaken. He was unwittingly becoming my training partner, helping me prepare you for battles that are coming. And now you are dangerous to his kingdom in ways you were not before. Before this season, you were a believer. Now you are a warrior. Before this season, you had faith. Now you have tested faith, proven faith, battle-hardened faith. Before this season, you knew about me. Now you know me. There is a difference between knowing about someone and knowing them personally, intimately, deeply. This season forced you into a level of intimacy with me that comfortable circumstances could never produce. When everything else was stripped away, when every other support system failed, when every human helper proved insufficient, you discovered that I am enough. Not just barely enough, abundantly enough, more than enough. Sufficient for every need, every fear, every question, every crisis. That knowledge is going to sustain you through everything that comes next. That intimate knowing of my sufficiency is going to be your anchor when storms arise. That deep conviction that I am faithful is going to be your foundation when everything around you shakes. And that unshakable confidence in my goodness is going to be your testimony that draws others to me. People are tired of religious theory. They want to see real faith demonstrated in real life. And you are about to become that demonstration. You are going to be the evidence they need that faith in me is not wishful thinking but powerful reality. Think about what you have learned about me during this season. You have learned that I am present even when I feel absent. You have discovered that I am working even when you cannot see any evidence of it. You have experienced that I am faithful even when circumstances suggest otherwise. You have proven that I am good even when life is hard. These are not theological concepts you memorized. These are lived realities you have experienced. And that experiential knowledge is unshakable. People can argue with your theology. They cannot argue with your testimony. You know what you know because you have lived it, walked through it, survived it. This is what I do. This is who I am. I am the God who redeems, the God who restores, the God who takes broken pieces and creates masterpieces, the God who turns mourning into dancing, ashes into beauty, despair into hope, defeat into triumph. And I am doing all of that in your life right now. The transformation is happening. The turnaround is in motion. The victory is manifesting. And very soon, you are going to look at your life and marvel at what I have done. You are going to tell your story and people are going to be amazed. You are going to reflect on this season and recognize it for what it truly was. Not abandonment, not punishment, not random suffering, but strategic preparation for a promotion that required you to be refined before you could receive it. Everything you went through was working for you, not against you. Everything you endured was preparing you, not destroying you. Everything that hurt you was actually healing you at levels deeper than the pain. And now, the preparation is complete. The refining is finished. The training is done. And you are ready. Ready to receive. Ready to step up. Ready to walk through the open door into everything I've prepared for you. So go forward with confidence. Step into this new season with faith. Receive what I am releasing with gratitude. And watch what I do. Watch how I move. Watch how I provide. Watch how I protect. Watch how I promote. Watch how I prove myself faithful in ways that exceed everything you believed I could do. This is your season. This is your time. This is your moment of breakthrough, of victory, of triumph. And I am with you every step of the way, not just watching from a distance, but walking beside you, in you, through you, making sure that you not only reach the destination, but that you become who you need to be in the process of getting there. What began in difficulty is ending in victory. What started with tears is finishing with triumph. What commenced in uncertainty is concluding with confidence. What opened with fear is closing with faith. This is the decree that was issued in heaven concerning your life. This is the verdict that was written before you ever entered this season. This is the promise that has sustained you through every dark moment. And now, this is the reality that is manifesting before your eyes. Let me show you something about how I have been working during this season that you could not see from your limited perspective. While you were crying out to me in prayer, I was dispatching angels to minister to you. While you were feeling alone, I was surrounding you with an invisible army that the enemy could not penetrate. While you were believing that nothing was changing, I was rearranging entire systems in the spiritual realm to position you for breakthrough. You only saw what was visible. I was working in dimensions you cannot access with natural senses. Think about what happened with Elisha and his servant when they were surrounded by an enemy army. The servant looked with natural eyes and saw only the overwhelming opposition. He panicked. He asked Elisha what they were going to do, and Elisha prayed that God would open the servant's eyes to see what was really happening. When his eyes were opened to the spiritual dimension, he saw that the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire surrounding them. The army he thought was about to destroy them was actually outnumbered by the heavenly forces protecting them. He just could not see it until his eyes were opened. That same dynamic has been operating in your life during this difficult season. You saw the opposition, you felt the pressure, you experienced the attacks, and from your perspective, it looked like you were outnumbered, overpowered, about to be overwhelmed. But if your spiritual eyes could have been opened to see what was really happening, you would have seen me standing between you and every attack. You would have seen angels working on your behalf. You would have seen doors being opened in the realm of the Spirit before they manifested in the realm of the natural. You would have seen me moving pieces into position, orchestrating circumstances, touching hearts, preparing the way for the breakthrough that is now arriving. The season you walked through was never as hopeless as it felt. The situation was never as dire as it appeared. The outcome was never in doubt from my perspective. I knew how this was going to end before it began. I saw the victory before you ever faced the battle. And I was working the entire time to bring you to this moment, to bring you through that season, to bring you into this new chapter, to bring you to the place where everything I promised becomes everything you experience. Now I need to talk to you about something that is going to be critical as you step into this season of victory. You are going to need to guard your heart against pride. When the breakthrough manifests, when the blessing arrives, when people start noticing that something has shifted in your life, there is going to be a temptation to take credit for what only I could do. There is going to be a subtle whisper in your mind suggesting that your faith was strong enough, your prayers were good enough, your obedience was complete enough to earn this breakthrough. And if you listen to that whisper, if you allow pride to take root, it will poison everything I am giving you. Pride is what caused Lucifer to fall from heaven. Pride is what turned a worship leader into the adversary. Pride is what transforms blessing into a curse. Pride is the deadly sin that masquerades as healthy confidence. And it is one of the enemy's most effective tools for destroying people who survive his attacks of doubt and fear. If he cannot get you to quit in the valley, he will try to get you to stumble on the mountain. If he cannot defeat you through hardship, he will try to corrupt you through blessing. If he cannot make you doubt my goodness when things are bad, he will try to make you forget my goodness when things are good. So I am warning you ahead of time. When the victory comes, remember whose victory it is. When the breakthrough arrives, remember who broke through for you. When the blessing manifests, remember who blessed you. None of this is about your greatness. All of it is about mine. None of this came from your strength. All of it flowed from mine. None of this was achieved through your ability. All of it was accomplished through my faithfulness. You were simply faithful to keep trusting me. I was the one who moved heaven and earth to prove myself trustworthy. Stay humble. Stay grateful. Stay dependent on me. The moment you start thinking you have figured it all out, the moment you begin believing you can maintain this level of blessing through your own wisdom, the moment you drift into thinking you are self-sufficient, that is the moment things will start to unravel. Not because I am vengeful or cruel, but because pride creates cracks in the foundation. Pride opens doors to the enemy that I cannot protect you from because you have chosen to walk in territory I warned you to avoid. So keep your heart soft, keep your spirit teachable, keep your posture humble, and the blessing I am releasing will not only arrive, it will remain. There is something else you need to know about this victory. It is not just about you experiencing relief from the difficulty you walked through. It is about you being positioned to help others who are walking through similar difficulties. The testimony you are gaining through this season is going to become a tool in my hand to minister to multitudes. The lessons you learned in the fire are going to equip you to pull others out of their fires. The breakthrough you are receiving is going to give you credibility to speak into the lives of people who are still believing for their breakthroughs. This is why the enemy fought you so hard. He knew that if you made it through, if you emerged victorious, if you came out with your faith intact and your testimony powerful, you would become a threat to his operation in the lives of countless others. Every person you encourage through your testimony is a person he loses influence over. Every believer you strengthen through your story is a believer he cannot defeat through lies. Every seeker you point to me through your witness is a soul he cannot claim for his kingdom. Your victory is not just about your personal freedom. It is about you becoming a weapon of mass liberation in my hands. So when people start asking you how you made it through, do not minimize what you went through. Do not downplay the difficulty. Do not sanitize your story to make it more palatable. Tell the truth. Tell them about the nights you cried yourself to sleep. Tell them about the moments you wanted to quit. Tell them about the times you could not feel my presence but chose to trust me anyway. Tell them about the battles you fought and the losses you endured and the pain you carried. And then tell them about me. Tell them how I showed up when you needed me most. Tell them how I provided when you had nothing left. Tell them how I carried you when you could not walk. Tell them how I proved myself faithful even when you struggled to remain faithful. That testimony is powerful. That story has the ability to change lives. That witness carries an anointing that can break chains off people who have been bound for years. Because when people hear what you went through and see that you made it to the other side, hope rises in their hearts. When they hear how I showed up for you, faith is activated in them that I will show up for them too. When they see the transformation in your life, they start believing that transformation is possible for their lives as well. You are becoming a living epistle, a walking testimony, a breathing demonstration of my faithfulness. And that is going to be your greatest ministry. Not a program you run, or an event you organize, or a platform you build. Your greatest ministry is going to be your life. The way you walk out your faith, the way you respond to challenges, the way you worship in the wilderness, the way you trust me in the darkness, the way you give me glory when the breakthrough comes. People are going to watch your life, and they are going to encounter me through you. That is what it means to be my ambassador. That is what it looks like to be salt and light. That is the reality of being a city on a hill that cannot be hidden. You are not called to be perfect. You are called to be authentic. You are not called to have all the answers. You are called to know the one who does. You are not called to never struggle. You are called to show people how to trust me in the middle of the struggle. And that is exactly what you have been doing during this season. You have been developing a testimony. You have been gaining a story. You have been acquiring ammunition for spiritual warfare that is going to set captives free. Now let me speak to those of you who are reading this and thinking that it sounds too good to be true. Those of you who have been disappointed so many times that you have built walls around your heart to protect yourself from hoping again. Those of you who want to believe that victory is coming but are terrified of being let down one more time. I understand that fear. I know where it comes from. I see the wounds that created it. And I am not offended by your hesitation. I am not angry about your doubt. I am not disappointed in your caution. But I am asking you to take a risk. I am inviting you to hope one more time. I am calling you to believe that maybe, just maybe, this time it will be different. Because I am not like the people who let you down. I am not like the systems that failed you. I am not like the circumstances that betrayed your trust. I am God. I am faithful. I do not lie. I cannot fail. And what I have spoken over your life will come to pass, not because you have perfect faith, but because I have perfect faithfulness. So lower the walls. Open your heart. Let yourself hope again. Yes, hoping makes you vulnerable. Yes, trusting opens you up to potential disappointment. Yes, believing requires risk. But the alternative is living in a protective shell that keeps out pain, but also keeps out joy. The alternative is existing in a state of perpetual guardedness that shields you from hurt, but also blocks you from breakthrough. The alternative is surviving instead of thriving, enduring instead of enjoying, getting through life instead of getting from life. Everything I designed life to give you. I understand that you have been hurt. I know that people have let you down. I see the wounds that have been inflicted on your heart by those who should have protected it. And I am not minimizing that pain. I am not telling you to pretend it does not matter. What I am telling you is that those wounds do not have to define your future. Those disappointments do not have to dictate your destiny. Those betrayals do not have to determine your capacity to trust. Because I am not like the people who hurt you. I am not like the systems that failed you. I am not like the circumstances that betrayed you. I am the God who has never failed anyone who genuinely trusted me. Yes, my timing is often different from what people expect. Yes, my methods are frequently not what people would choose. Yes, my ways are higher than human ways, and my thoughts are higher than human thoughts. But I have never abandoned a child who clung to me. I have never forsaken a soul who sought me with their whole heart. I have never left empty-handed anyone who came to me in genuine faith. My track record is perfect. My faithfulness is absolute. And you can trust me even if you cannot trust anyone else. This season you just walked through was building that trust in you. Not the shallow trust that exists when everything is going well. The deep trust that holds firm when nothing makes sense. The kind of trust that says, I will follow you even when I cannot see where you are leading. I will obey you even when obedience is costly. I will believe you even when circumstances contradict what you said. That kind of trust is rare. That kind of trust is precious. That kind of trust is powerful. And you have developed it through this difficult season. Now I am asking you to exercise that trust as you step into the new season. Trust me when the doors start opening and it feels too good to be true. Trust me when the blessing starts flowing and your mind whispers that it cannot last. Trust me when people start noticing the change in your life and the enemy tries to make you self-conscious about it. Trust me when opportunities arise that seem bigger than you can handle. Trust me when I ask you to step into spaces that intimidate you. Trust me when I call you to do things you have never done before. Because I have proven myself trustworthy in the wilderness, and I am going to prove myself trustworthy in the promised land. I'm not asking you to be naive. I'm not telling you to ignore wisdom or discernment. I'm not suggesting that you open yourself up to every person or every situation without any caution. What I am asking you to do is trust me. Even if you cannot trust people, even if you cannot trust circumstances, even if you cannot trust your own feelings or thoughts or perceptions, trust me. I have never failed you. I have never left you. I have never given up on you. And I am not about to start now. The victory I am declaring over your life is not dependent on your ability to work up enough faith to believe it. It is dependent on my character, on my word, on my covenant with you. And I am faithful even when you are not. I am true even when you doubt. I am working on your behalf even when you cannot feel it. The breakthrough is coming not because you finally got strong enough to make it happen, but because I decided that the appointed time has arrived and I am faithful to fulfill what I promised. So receive this word. Let it sink deep into your spirit. Let it take root in the soil of your heart. Let it begin to produce hope and faith and expectation. And watch what I do. Watch how I move. Watch how I prove myself faithful. Watch how I turn everything around. Watch how I bring you from where you are to where I am taking you. This is not the end. This is the beginning. This is not defeat. This is set up for the greatest victory of your life. This is not abandonment. This is preparation for the most significant season you have ever experienced. The season is turning. The chapter is closing. The victory is here. And you, my beloved child, are stepping into the fullness of everything I promised, everything I prepared, everything I purposed for your life. Walk forward with your head held high, knowing that you have overcome. Walk forward with joy in your heart, knowing that the best is yet to come. Walk forward with faith in your spirit, knowing that I am faithful and I will complete the good work I started in you. Your victory is complete. Your triumph is secure. Your breakthrough is guaranteed. Not because of anything you did, but because of who I am. I am the God who keeps his promises. I am the Father who delights in blessing his children. I am the one who began this work in your life, and I am the one who will bring it to completion. Trust me, believe me, receive from me, and watch what I do in this season that is opening before you. I want to close with this final word. Everything you need for this next season has already been provided. You do not need to worry about whether you will have the strength for what is coming. I will give you strength day by day. You do not need to be concerned about whether you will have the wisdom for the decisions ahead. I will give you wisdom as you need it. You do not need to be anxious about whether you will have the resources to do what I am calling you to do. I will provide resources in my timing and my way. Everything you need is already in my hand, and I will release it to you exactly when you need it, exactly how you need it, exactly where you need it. Think about the children of Israel when they were preparing to enter the promised land. They had wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. They had faced enemies. They had dealt with lack. They had experienced my provision in the form of manna and water from rocks. They had learned to trust me day by day. And then Moses died, and Joshua became their leader, and I told them it was time to cross the Jordan River and possess the land I had promised them. They could have looked at that moment and felt overwhelmed. They could have focused on how big the obstacles were, how fortified the cities were, how powerful the enemies were. They could have doubted whether they were ready, whether they were strong enough, whether they had what it would take. But I did not give them time to spiral into fear and doubt. I gave them clear instructions. I told them to consecrate themselves. I told them to get ready to move. I told them to prepare to cross over. And then I made them a promise that changed everything. I said, "As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. That same promise I made to Joshua, I am making to you right now. As I was with you in the wilderness season, so I will be with you in the promised land season. As I sustained you in the difficulty, so I will sustain you in the blessing. As I protected you in the valley, so I will protect you on the mountain. I am not sending you into this new season alone. I am not expecting you to figure everything out by yourself. I am not requiring you to be self-sufficient. I am going with you. I am in you. I am working through you. And everywhere you go, everything you face, every decision you make, every challenge you encounter, I will be right there with you. You do not need to be afraid of success. Some people are more afraid of succeeding than they are of failing because they worry that if things go well, they will somehow mess it up. They fear that if the blessing comes, they will not know how to handle it. They are concerned that if God promotes them, they will not be able to maintain the promotion. But that fear is rooted in the lie that the blessing depends on your ability to hold on to it. The truth is that the blessing depends on my ability to sustain it. And I am more than able. I am not giving you something and then walking away to see if you can keep it. I am giving you something and staying right there with you to help you steward it. You do not need to be intimidated by the assignment. Some people look at what God is calling them to do, and they feel inadequate. They focus on their lack of qualifications, their shortage of experience, their limited resources. They compare themselves to others who seem more equipped, more prepared, more capable, and they conclude that they must have misheard the call, that God must have made a mistake, that surely He meant to give this assignment to someone else. But that kind of thinking completely misses the point. I do not call the equipped. I equip the called. I do not choose people based on their current qualifications. I choose people based on their willingness to be used, and then I give them everything they need to fulfill what I have called them to do. Moses did not feel qualified to lead Israel out of Egypt. He made excuses. He pointed out his limitations. He tried to get out of the assignment. But I did not change my mind. I simply told him I would be with him, and I would give him everything he needed. Gideon did not feel qualified to deliver Israel from the Midianites. He saw himself as the least in his family, from the weakest clan. But I saw him as a mighty warrior, and I gave him the strategy, the courage, and the supernatural power to accomplish what seemed impossible. David did not feel qualified to fight Goliath. He was just a shepherd boy with a sling. But I had been preparing him in the wilderness, training him through battles with lions and bears, developing in him a faith that could face giants. You might not feel qualified for what is coming. You might look at yourself and see only weakness, limitation, inadequacy. But I look at you and see someone I have been preparing, someone I have been refining, someone I have been equipping through every season of your life. The wilderness was not wasted. The difficulty was not random. The testing was not meaningless. It was all preparation for this moment, for this season, for this assignment, and everything you need to succeed in what is next is already inside you, planted there by me during the seasons when you thought nothing good was happening. So step forward with confidence. Not confidence in yourself, but confidence in me. Not trust in your ability, but trust in my faithfulness. Not reliance on your resources, but dependence on my provision. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your season of breakthrough, of victory, of manifestation. And I am not just cheering you on from the sidelines. I am in the middle of the field with you. I am fighting your battles. I am opening your doors. I am making your way. And together we are going to see things happen in your life that will cause even you to marvel at what I can do when someone simply trusts me and says yes to my plans. The season is turning. The page is flipping. The chapter is changing. And what is written on the next page of your story is victory. Complete victory. Total victory. Overwhelming victory. Not because you are strong enough to achieve it, but because I am faithful enough to give it. Not because you deserve it, but because I delight in blessing my children. Not because you figured out the formula, but because I love you, and I have chosen to show that love by transforming everything in your life that the enemy tried to destroy. So walk forward in confidence. Not confidence in yourself, but confidence in me. Not trust in your ability, but trust in my faithfulness. Not reliance on your resources, but dependence on my provision. I am with you. I am for you. I am working everything together for your good. And the season you are entering is going to exceed every expectation you have ever had about what is possible for your life. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your season of victory, of blessing, of breakthrough. And I am walking every step of this journey with you. What began in difficulty is ending in victory. What started with tears is finishing with triumph. What commenced in uncertainty is concluding with confidence. What opened with fear is closing with faith. This is my promise to you. This is my covenant with you. This is my word over your life. And heaven and earth will pass away before my word fails. You are victorious. You are blessed. You are loved. You are chosen. You are called. You are anointed. And you are about to see with your own eyes everything I have been preparing for you. Amen. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear these words. Type Amen in the comments to receive this blessing. This is your season of breakthrough, and God is faithful to complete what He started in your life. Share this message with someone who is in their difficult season, believing for their victory. Let them know that what God did for you, He will do for them. May you walk in the fullness of everything God has prepared for you, and may your testimony strengthen the faith of everyone who hears your story.